Well, Razorback fans, Arkansas absolutely destroys, dominates, blitzkriegs, whatever you want to say, UAPB in their very first football game of the 2024 season. So let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Fixes tired fast with zero sugar and a convenient portable size. It's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. Go to 5hourenergy.com and use promo code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with any other promotions. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday as we're going to talk about an actual game, give a little reaction and recap to the Razorbacks' first football game of the season. We'll try to work through it and give our reactions, get into not only some takeaways, but look at the offense, look at the defense, look at everything, and get into the discussions of it all too. So here's the thing. 70-0. Is it weird if I say that beating UAPB 70-0 the way that Arkansas did still wasn't really indicative of the final score? Because Arkansas could have scored 100 points in this game if they wanted to. They could have played full quarters in the second half, but instead they chose, and it was agreed upon, to have 10-minute quarters. And so you're talking about 10 minutes less of a football game, and Arkansas still scored 70 points, 10 touchdowns. They had 10 possessions, folks. They scored 10 touchdowns. UAP did not score a single point. Arkansas was 100% on third down conversions. We did not see them punt. We did not see a field goal. It was complete and utter domination. Now, here's the thing. I want to be clear about this. This is a great thing. In fact, if you're a Razorback football fan, and we'll talk about some of the, criticisms, if you will, but if you're a Razorback football fan, you cannot be more happy, more satisfied with an opening game than what you saw with Arkansas and UAPB. You just can't. Because you dominated offensively, you dominated defensively, and you got out of there healthy. What more could you ask? Nothing. I mean, it was perfect. That's the perfect game. When you dominate offensively, you dominate defensively, and you get out of there injury-free, that's the perfect game. And so I'll admit, I knew Arkansas was going to win this game. But anytime you're coming off of a 4-8 season and there's a little uncertainty, you got a lot of new faces, new quarterback, new everything, you think it's going to be domination, but you're just unsure. I mean, I don't think anybody predicted that Arkansas would win this game 70-0. And if they did, it was almost in passing, we're going to win by 70. But that's what they did. And so I'll get into the specifics of the offense and defense, and especially Taylen Green in the next segment. But here's the thing, too, with this. I'm thoroughly impressed. I don't think that this win has suddenly changed my mind, and suddenly I'm like, Arkansas, I can see him winning 10 games now. And I don't think anyone should feel that way. In fact, I don't think any of you, and you can do what you want, but I'm just saying I don't think any of you or us or anybody should look at this game against UAPB and change any sort of feeling that they had as far as wins and losses go for the year. Because it's more of an indication of how bad UAPB was. But, again, give credit where credit is due for Arkansas. They did what they were supposed to do, and that's what I was happy about. You went up against an inferior opponent, and you smoked them. There's not much more you could ask. It was a hot day into a hot night here in Little Rock, which is why I look disgusting right now, sweating my balls off. But it was a hot day. The crowd, it was a late arriving crowd. But again, I'm not saying anything negative about it because I get it. It was 98 degrees, and the heat index was 110 at kickoff. I don't blame anybody for not wanting to go to this game on a Thursday night and all that. But there was nothing about this game that Arkansas didn't do well. There's things that they did better than others, but overall, you just dominated them. So getting into the stats, and we'll talk about Taylen Green specifically, because I think there's a lot to unpack there. But Arkansas with Taylen Green, he had 3 quarterbacks playing this game, by the way, and none of it was in for injury, thank goodness. But Taylen Green goes 16 of 23, that's 70% completion percentage, for 229 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also rushes for 88 yards on 6 carries for 2 touchdowns. So pretty productive day at the office for Taylen Green. Malachi Singleton comes in, goes 8 for 10, 120 yards. Looked really good, too. Looked really good in the limited action that he got. Not, again, there's only so much you can take from, but if your backup quarterback comes in, you want to see good performance no matter who it's against, and he did really well. Even KJ Jackson, the true freshman, comes in 4 of 4 for 59 yards. So total from all quarterbacks for Arkansas, that's 28 for 37 for 408 yards and 2 touchdowns. 76% completion percentage. One of the coolest things about this game was that Arkansas, so you just heard me say 28 completions. Arkansas had 28 completions, which means, of course, 28 receptions. 14 different wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, whoever. 14 different ones had a catch. Your leading wide receiver was Isaac TeSlaa with 3 catches for 53 yards. So imagine that. If I had told you that Arkansas threw for 408 total yards, you would probably think at least one wide receiver was flirting with 100 yards or even got over 100 yards. No. You would even think probably, okay, someone had 5, 6 catches. No. No, the love was shared all over the place. Like, I'm looking at the box score. I saw Shamar Easter get a catch. I forgot he was on the team. But him, Davion Dozier, Ty Washington, Isaiah Satania, Rashad DeBinion, who ended up playing a little bit later, Rodney Hill, Quinton Jackson, Monty Harrison, the former MLB player, he got 2 catches in this game. Brown, Broden, Haz, Anthony. A lot of love was shared, which was really great to see. And then on the rushing end, I keep trying to tell everybody about Jaquindon Jackson, man. I've been trying to tell everybody about this dude. He is the real deal Holyfield. That dude is just a monster. 8 carries for 101 yards, 2 touchdowns, 12.6 yards per carry. He was running over dudes. He was stiff-arming dudes. He was breaking tackles. He was outrunning them. The guy's got it all. And he's also waving to the opposing team's cheerleaders when he scores a touchdown. I mean, come on. The dude's got confidence, and rightfully so, because he is everything as advertised. Tyrell Reed also had 5 carries for 28 yards. He's got to see a little bit of Braylon Russell, the true freshman. It's crazy. According to the box score, he only had 3 carries, but it seems like he had a lot more than that. But got to see him get a touchdown. In fact, I should have mentioned this, but Jaquindon Jackson had 2 touchdowns. Taylen Green had 2 touchdowns. Reed had a touchdown. Braylon Russell had a touchdown. Rodney Hill had a touchdown. So if you do the math on that, folks, if I'm doing the math right, that's 7 touchdowns on the ground. 7. Is it 8? 7? I got my spotter over here telling me. According to this box score, 2-2-1-1-1, that's 7. We're going to go with that. And if you don't like it, or if it's wrong, blame the box score. But you're talking about 7 of the 10 touchdowns for Arkansas were on the ground. Folks, do you know how long it was for Arkansas to go without scoring that many touchdowns on the ground last year? Like, they had 9 on the season total. 9 on the season total. Is it 8 or 7? It's 8 touchdowns. Okay, so the box score was wrong that I was looking at. Thank you, Devin. All right, yeah, I see it. Okay, so yeah, he called it out. There he is. That's why we pay him the big bucks around here. Apparently, as my camera went out, but that's okay as long as you guys could still hear me. It's fine. But still, you're talking about a great performance on the ground where they're rushing. So 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns of 10 on the ground. They had 9 all last season. Offensively, you were dominant. Defensively, you didn't allow any points. I don't care who you play. I don't care which team it is. 0 points in a game that went 50 minutes, not 60, 50 minutes. 0 points. Incredible. Absolutely incredible performance all around for Arkansas. So, kudos to them, man. They did it. That's what you wanted to see. That's what you wanted to look at. That's what you wanted to see in the first game. And we'll talk about Taylen Green because I think that is important to bring up. We'll do that and then get into more defense specifics as well as looking kind of ahead in there, which, yeah, again, I sorry my camera went out. I know you guys all want to see my disgusting, sweaty aftermath from today in Memorial Stadium. But we'll get to that here in just a bit, which I'm sure you're all looking forward to. But, hey, listen, one of the things that really helped me and helped all of us out when it comes to making this marathon of a day go right is, of course, 5-Hour Energy. You know, a lot of us get tired. Sometimes we're tired after lunch. Sometimes we get tired after a workout. Sometimes we're getting tired because it's late in the week and we're having to go to work in the morning after a Razorback football game to where we were just really tired. I mean, sometimes we get tired. It happens. Well, when you get tired, look no further than 5-Hour Energy to get that energy back. It's going to help you get alert, and it's going to get you to the energy that you need to get in the zone. Think about this, folks. You're talking about zero sugar in a convenient portable size. It's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. The 5-Hour Energy website also has different flavors galore, like watermelon, tropical burst, grape, berry, and so many more. And that's a flavor for everyone. You can try them all even. And on the site, you even have the option to build your own 12-pack or 24-pack. You choose the flavors, and it's delivered right to your door. So if you go to 5hourenergy.com, that is the number 5, hourenergy.com, and take some of the 5-Hour Energy product today, you can get you some. You can even use my promo code at LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with any other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. So go to 5hourenergy.com today. We're also brought to you by our friends over, of course, at FanDuel. We've heard talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little bit different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube as well as YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook today. All right, moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Let's talk about Taylen Green, folks. You know that I've been big on Taylen Green. I'm still a huge fan of Taylen Green. I think he's going to be a great quarterback for Arkansas. We saw his athleticism. We saw his playmaking ability with his feet. And, you know, sometimes I was like, you better get out of bounds. But he just kept running and had a great touchdown run. We saw a lot of good from Taylen Green. But that being said, there were some accuracy issues because this was the whole thing about him at Boise State that everyone always brought up. And it's I'm not saying it's in a bad way or not saying anyone's wrong. It's just facts. He did not have a great completion percentage while he was over there at Boise State. So you're talking about like 51%. When he comes in, you're expecting that to go up. And it's crazy to even talk about this because we're really nitpicking, but it's true. He completed 70% of his passes in this game, but there were quite a few passes that he missed. In fact, some of the ones he missed, he shouldn't have. The first play of the game, we knew that Taylen Green had talked about, we know what we're running the first play. And I remember talking with my friends, talking with Curtis and Andrew, just bringing up, okay, so what do you think it's going to be? What do we think it's going to be? Well, we all kind of felt like there's potential it could be a really crazy great play because you know how Bobby Petrino is. He knows how to mark up a offense that can go up against about any defense, and especially in those opening drives. Well, there's a play-action pass. Plenty of time. Offensive line's blocking well. Taylen Green winds up and heaves the ball down the field. He's looking for Tyrone Broden, 6'7" wide receiver, speedster. And he had him. In fact, as soon as he let the ball go, I was like, there's a touchdown because Tyrone Broden had a step or two on the defensive back. But then they had to stop, come forward. Should have been intercepted. But it was well short of where the ball needed to be. Now, again, I know you can consider this nitpicking, and I still believe fully in Taylen Green. But those are just the type of things like, okay, it happened against UAPB, but folks, imagine if that happens against Oklahoma State. Like every single play is going to matter tremendously. It's going to be the difference in this whole thing. You got to be able to make those throws consistently. You got to be able to be like, all right, I know that Taylen Green, when he has a man downfield for a big play game, he's going to hit him. You know, not every pass is going to be perfect. Not every pass is going to be easy. Like, there's going to be times he has to throw on the run. He's going to be half the times he throws in tight windows. That's part of it. But when it comes to the throws to a wide open man or a throw to a 6'7" wide receiver that you just got to get it in his vicinity and he'll probably take care of business, you can't be short-arming those. It just can't happen. And there were a few others that he just missed his guys. They were open, and he just missed them. So, I'm trying to make sure that everyone understands. I'm not coming down on Taylen Green. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not any of that. I'm just saying, of all the things that you have to be able to see and have to be able to understand and have to be able to do as a quarterback heading into the SEC and playing in the SEC, is when you have those particular type of plays, you got to make them. Like, yes, you're going to have to make some hard plays. You're going to have to make some hard throws. But when it's the easy throws, when it's the money throws, when it's the ones where it's just like, hey, you know, overthrow the guy even a little bit, you have to do those. Because even though that UAPB defender dropped it, those guys ain't dropping it over at Oklahoma State. They're not dropping it in the SEC. They're going to pick it. And that can just change the entire outlook of a game. So that's a little bit of a concern, and it has been about Taylen Green. But he still settled in. He got better as the game went on. I think he got more comfortable. You know, I would chalk it up to jitters, but he's also a senior. You know, it's not like he's his first rodeo, but it is, you know, SEC football, and it is Arkansas, and it is Bobby Petrino. There's a lot of newness there too. But he's got to be able to work on that. He's got to get more accurate, and I think he will. But definitely want to see a little bit better performance when it comes to that side of things. We'll talk about the defense and talk about some other things that can be taken away from this game here in just a second. But, folks, I got to tell you about our friends over at Home Field Apparel. Listen, if you guys have not seen the greatness of Home Field Apparel, if you've not worn the greatness of Home Field Apparel, you're truly missing out. You have to check it out today because a lot of you are just like me, where you love the vintage. You love the old school Razorback logos, you know, the slobber hog, the hog running through the A, the hog leaning on the A, the old football logos. Like, you love those things. I love those things. And so many times it's really hard to get those types of apparels in stock and find them anywhere. And if you do, it's like in an old store that, you know, resale shop or whatever it is. Well, don't worry about it anymore. You can get yours today. You need to go to homefieldapparel.com and see all the great things that they have to offer when it comes to all things Razorbacks. And if you do go and you do see, which I know you will because all the shirts are awesome, but if you do see some things you like and you're going to buy them, be sure to use my promo code PIG24. PIG24. I don't know how else I can make it easier for you. So that's on you. But either way, great apparel, great stuff from Home Field Apparel. Get you ready for college football. Get you ready for Razorback football. Comfortable shirts, great logos. Check them out today. Also, another great sponsor here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast I want to tell you about. Fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals and options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes, so no matter how busy that you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great-tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll have all the different types of new flavors to explore from. Crush your wellness goals in this month with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust in. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Enjoy effortless support of your lifestyle, and you can choose up to 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories and maximize your protein intake. Avoid meat, or simply just eat well-balanced. So head over to factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 and use promo code LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's promo code LockedOnCollege50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is still active. Okay, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. We've talked about the game, talked about what's happened. Again, it's the fact that I even brought that up about Taylen Green in that segment. It's just so funny because that's like the only thing. It's like I didn't want to be too overly positive and just think that everything's sunshine and rainbows and it's perfect. But it's that's the one thing. But honestly, I just got to give credit where credit is due, especially for Arkansas last year. Folks, they couldn't run the ball against Kent State. Against Western Illinois or Eastern Illinois or whoever the crap they play, it doesn't matter. They couldn't run it against anybody. They couldn't run against you and me if we lined up in an Oklahoma drill. So, yeah, did they beat UAPB handedly? Yes. But it's also about the way that they did it. They did it really by running the ball very effectively. They opened up holes. The offensive line did a good job. They gave plenty of time to Taylen Green. They were able to block really well for Jaquindon Jackson or Rashad Dominion or anybody that was back there in the running back room. They took care of business. And so it's just great to see that. It was great to see balance. It was great to see them going out there defensively too. And I would have liked to seen a little bit more pressure from the defensive line, but overall, can't complain. Nico Davier was all over the place, had a great game. I thought Xavion Story played really well, the former 5-star player from Georgia. He looked good. The secondary looked solid. I'd say a couple of maybe breakdowns in coverage, but not anything too major. Stuff that they'll work on, stuff that they'll get better from. You didn't see any field goal kicking or punting. Arkansas didn't punt once. So, what can you take away from the game? That's the ultimate question. What can you take away from a game like this? Well, if I'm being honest, folks, nothing. Nothing. Like, there's nothing about this game as great as it was for Arkansas where I'm like, oh, I wasn't sure about this part going into Oklahoma State. But after UAPB and that game's performance, I'm feeling confident about this going into Oklahoma State. It does nothing. But here's what you can justify. Or if anybody asks you, if you're trying to find something to take from the game, you can take this from it. As I mentioned before, you did what you were supposed to do. And you're a Razorback football fan. You've gone through some crap. You've gone through some rough times. You've gone through some rough seasons and rough games. There's been times where you had close calls against opponents you should never have been even close with. You had times, even just look at last year. Kent State was a close game. It wasn't great. Like, you've had those times and those moments where they made it a little too interesting. But guess what? This one wasn't. Wasn't even close. You did what you were supposed to do. You were a superior opponent with superior athletes and superior talent, and you showcased it from beginning to end. I give lots of credit with that. So if there is something to take away from it, if there is something that you want to feel good about, that's it. You did what you were supposed to do. You didn't mess around. You executed the game plan. You were more physical. You were more focused. You were the better team, and you showed it. Now, next week when they play Oklahoma State, they're not going to go into this game being the better team. And if you look at it on paper, I wouldn't pick Arkansas to be, quote, the better team. However, could Arkansas find a way to play better than Oklahoma State on that day? Sure. Sure they can. Can they win? Absolutely. But if they do, folks, it's not going to be because of anything from UAPB. It's going to be because they're just executing a much higher, better game plan, and they're taking care of business against a really tough team on the road in the early part of the season. Should be a great one no matter what, though. Should be great. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Neighbors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel. Next week, have a great Labor Day weekend, everybody.